is going fast. Hey, this is funny. You get off the tiger, and the tiger eats you for lunch. So you can't get off the tiger. And that's the problem that the Chinese Communist Party has, getting off the tiger. Will they get off the tiger without a violent and bloody revolution? I hope so. It happened in South Africa. Maybe it'll happen in China. But the Indians already have a democracy, and it's a highly ingenious place. Now, it's not equal socially. They have castes. And this is the big obstacle in India to economic advance. But when they can get around the caste problem, their current prime minister is from a low caste, they are very ingenious. And that's the future of the world. The future of the world is liberalism. It's not conservatism in some stick in the mud way. And it's certainly not socialism. Bernie Frank to the contrary. And it's liberalism in the non-American, in the old sense, in the still European sense. Now, why did it happen? Well, you know, the whole world is going to become rich. The whole world is going to have the kind of opportunity that you have here at Hillstead College. Why did it happen in Europe? Why in northwestern Europe? It starts in Holland. I'm a big fan of Holland, and the Dutch is where. How many people here from Holland, Michigan? Put your hands up. Anyone from Holland, Michigan? Any people of Dutch descent? Okay, a few. I was hoping for more. So I'd speak to you in Dutch. 88 It starts in Holland in the 1500s, in the 16th century. Spreads to England by the end of the 17th century. This new dignity, this new liberalism. Scotland by the middle of the 18th century, to the New World around 1700, and then to Belgium in the very late 18th century, and on. Why there? Well, I say it's accidents of European politics. Now, you might say, gee, that's kind of disappointing. What do you mean accident? What's kind of an explanation is that? Well, the reason to talk this way is to talk against the idea that there's something special about the Europeans. There's nothing deeply special about European civilization, in my view. And it's not some inevitable consequence of the wonderful people of France in 1200. That's not what caused the Industrial Revolution and then what I call the Great Enrichment that follows it. That's not it. No. Take that idea, which is very widespread, especially it turns out among Europeans. That Europeans, we are really special. If you have a white face and so on, you are a long nose, you are really cool, and you are going to be always rich, and all those other people, too bad, they're going to be poor. Now, this is a ridiculous way of looking at the evidence. There were accidents. For one thing, the Protestant Reformation. Not what's called the magisterial revolution of Henry VIII or of Luther, or even much of the Calvinists, but the radical Reformation of the Anabaptists who founded this college, right here, or later on the English Quakers, or the Congregationalists, the Calvinist so-called independents, like those who settled Massachusetts. The point was that they chose their own ministers, or in the case of the Quakers, they didn't have any ministers, right? Whereas the other churches, even the other Protestant churches, had hierarchies. They had the bishops who appointed the priests. That's how it is in Luther's church and the Church of England and so forth. So it's church governance, not, as the great Max Weber said, the doctrine of salvation. It's not the doctrine of salvation that makes people bold. It's that in this very important part of their life, namely their religion, they're allowed to do what they want. That's one thing. The other are certain successful revolutions which go in very odd directions. For example, in England, the English Civil War of the 1640s results in the trial and execution of an anointed king. This shocked all of Europe. That kings got killed by people was not a shock. That happened all the time. But that the king was tried and executed, not just taken in the back alley and choked to death, but tried and executed under cover of law was something new. And for about 12 years, the English didn't have a king. England was a big country, at least by comparison with, say, Holland, which also didn't have a king. And this was important in European terms. And ideas poured out of such a place. Ideas of the equality of ordinary people. You didn't need a king. Now this is quite contrary to St. Paul and to Luther, who both said the appointed magistrates, they are your rulers, shut up and enjoy. That's it. We're not going to have any of these peasant revolts. But elsewhere, the peasant revolts were somewhat successful. And then there was the American Revolution and the French Revolution, all of which made people bold. And so that's my story. Out of ideas in politics and society of a very novel sort that were viewed as crazy in earlier times, became the standard. There's a leveler named Rumboldt. His last name is Rumboldt. And being a leveler meant in the 1640s in England that you were a radical egalitarian, that you believed that people were equal. You were a liberal. And in the 1680s under James II, he was tried and was to be hung. And from the scaffold he said, I think there is no one born unequal, because we come into the world without saddles on our back and no one else booted and spurred to ride us. We come into the world naked and naked. Now the crowd joined at the time, joining the execution, which they did as a big form of entertainment. Think of reality TV now. This was really reality TV, because it was real reality TV. They would have sneered at it. They didn't. The crowd of London didn't think this was true. They thought there were hierarchies, and they were part of it. They were this place in the hierarchy, or this place, or this place, or this place. But anyway, hierarchies, that's it. No more. 100 years later, time of all men are created equal, some of the crowd would have said, yes, go Rumboldt. You're right. Equality, liberal equality, is the way to go. 100 years later, somewhat after Abraham Lincoln, a few more. By 1980, most of the people in the crowd would have taken it as obvious that everyone was equal. In England, or France, égalité, or the United States. And that idea is spreading. That idea that there are not natural aristocrats, that fathers are not naturally kings and kings are not naturally fathers, is disintegrating. And out of that become the greatest flowering of world civilization that we've ever had, by 2 orders of magnitude superior to anything we've had. Art, science, culture, engineering, music, food, international cuisine. Come on. This is the world of the future which you will inhabit. How to protect it, defend liberal values, the values of equality and dignity for all. Thank you very much.